Hi, good morning. This is David Margolin, and this will be another edition of Dave's forecast process for the subseasonal forecast contest. Today is November 5th, and the target window, the 16 to 20, is November 20th to 24th. For today, I thought I'd take a little bit more time or dedicate a little bit more time to actually uh, showing all the tools that are available for forecast contestants. And then I'll finish with a brief overview of my forecast. So, uh, in terms of the forecast archive, one of the things that I try to take advantage of is to look through the various forecast inputs we have. So, again, this is today's forecast, and you can see we have a number of human forecasts today from Matt Lanza, Luke LaBelle, Paul Roundy, Stephen Decker, and others. And we have a number of non-human inputs, such as the CFS, the ECMWF, those are numerical model output, and we have a variety of climatological periods, 15-year, 30-year, 20-year, 10-year. We have a trend input, a 30-year trend input, and we have even a relatively new MJO analog input that was in part designed by Professor Decker. So we have a variety of inputs, and then for the human inputs, we require a formula statement, so you're able to kind of dig in a little bit more, and you could even hit the read more to get a deeper dive into what's the thinking of the forecaster. And you can see some of that information down here. So I definitely recommend kind of taking a look through that. This is, it's not cheating. The idea here is that we learn from each other in order to improve our forecast process and improve um, forecasting or subseasonal forecasting in general. All right. In addition to the forecast information you can find here, you can also click on some of the inputs in near the top here under Summary Official and Summary Sandbox. Summary Official is sort of what we consider the operational inputs, while the Sandbox are sort of research. They include everything that's in official, but they also include some inputs that are sort of a work in progress or in research mode. So if I click up here on heating season 2019-20, I can get an overview of performance and bias for the heating season thus far. And, we've only had a few forecasts, so keep sample size in mind. We also have performance relative to consensus too, so that you compare not only just to the 30-year, but compare to everyone who's submitted a forecast. And you can sort these features too. You can sort each of these columns. So I definitely recommend taking a look at the summary skill metrics, because one of the things I do is I try to understand who's been performing well, or what forecast input, because I may want to put more weight on that on that forecast input for the current forecast. And then you have some other options here too. All allows you to look at all forecasts since the start of the forecast contest, so that goes back to last year. And then I'm not going to go through all this, but the summary sandbox, again, there's some additional inputs, such as some persistence inputs that we started testing. All right, so in addition to the hopefully helpful information here, I definitely recommend you take a look up at the Tools drop-down menu. You can click on Weather Snapshot, and there's a variety of different weather charts here that could be helpful in your subseasonal process. It's different temperature charts, 500 millibar height charts from previous periods, current weather maps, current temperature charts, snow charts up here, and then a variety of MGO or SST charts and teleconnections. So definitely recommend you take a look at that. And then I'll just finish with two other things here, or two or three. We have the Resources tab, and this is where you can find some helpful links and information about the variety of model inputs in the contest, such as the Euro Weeklies, the CFS. Jenny Kafka, who just received her Rutgers PhD, helped or contributed in putting this together. So there's a lot of helpful information here. We also have the sandbox. The sandbox we update weekly, and it covers our discussions and topics of the day. And in some cases, there can be some really interesting things in there. And then tips and tricks. Finally, this is where we include all our videos. We've been trying to cut more instructional videos and how-to videos for folks who are interested in the subseasonal forecast process. All right, so I just want to walk you through that, just for folks who haven't, who are new or who just haven't been exposed to all those things. Now, just going back to my forecast, and we'll make a short briefing today. It's a short briefing, but obviously there's a lot going on. So here's my forecast input number one. And I guess the long story short with my process today was that as I've been doing over the last few weeks, I'm putting more weight on the longer term normals, the 30-year normal, less weight on the trend for reasons we've discussed, the fact that climate change seems to have bigger impact in summer than winter. I kept my model weightings the same. And then, of course, the big struggle today was how to deal with the fact that over the last few weeks, the models underestimated the cold that came into the United States here and has been with us and is expected or projected to be with us for the next couple weeks. Thanks to Maxar, we can see some of those plots here. I'll just pull up one example. Here's the EC ensemble, and I'll zoom into North America. And here is hour 72. Here's hour 192. There's big trough coming in. And then here's hour 312. So some relaxation, but still a trough there. So the question that I struggled with is, should I persist that? Is there an objective data point that suggests that persistence is going to be helpful in this situation? And the short answer is I didn't see one. We've done some of the persistence studies in the past, and you can see those in the summary metrics, and the persistence metrics that we've evaluated have not been very helpful. And then just looking at the pattern from a patterns perspective, it wasn't clear to me that there's a particular block that deserves a higher weighting or some sort of weighting that might not already be factored into the numerical guidance, i.e. that the EC is going to underestimate some sort of ridge over Alaska or NAO block. So I couldn't put my finger on something like that. So at the end of the day, this is the formula statement that I think is going to give the best outcome. And it turns out that the number is, as compared to the normals, it's a little bit colder or higher than the 10-year and just below the 30-year. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll do it again next week.